Your 30s, they're a huge deal for your money. If you get it right, you can totally set yourself up for life. But if you get it wrong, well, you could be playing catch up for a long, long time. So we've pulled together 9 really powerful money lessons from finance expert Humphrey Yang to help you make the right moves starting right now. So, what if you could get a sneak peek, a cheat sheet for your financial future? These aren't just little tips and tricks. We're talking about fundamental shifts in how you think that can literally change your entire financial path. This is all about setting you up for success, not just for this year, but for the rest of your life. Okay, before we even get into the numbers or the budgets, we have to talk about the real foundation of wealth, and that's your mindset. I know it might sound a little cliche, but how you think about money is honestly a way bigger predictor of success than the actual dollars in your bank account. I mean, just look at the difference in impact here. You could drive yourself crazy for months trying to save, what, 20 bucks on coffee? Or you could take that same energy and learn a new skill that bumps your income up by 500 bucks a month. See, the real path to wealth isn't about pinching every last penny. It's about expanding what you can earn. It's about growth, not restriction. We all do it, right? We have that magic number in our heads, that salary we think will just solve everything. But what if that number is just made up? What if the life you actually want is way more reachable than you think? Okay, so let's get real for a second. Take a look at this budget. $1,000 a month for eating out, a nice car, plenty for hobbies. I mean, that's a pretty good life, right? We're not talking private jets, but we are talking about being comfortable and having freedom. So what kind of salary do you think you need to make this happen? So for that lifestyle, that $7,000 a month lifestyle, you'd need about $125,000 a year before taxes. Now don't get me wrong, that's a great income, but it's not some crazy, impossible millionaire fantasy. It's a real, concrete target. When you stop chasing this vague idea of being rich and actually define what you want, suddenly the goal feels like something you can actually hit. This brings up a great question. Where are you putting your money? Humphrey Yang tells this awesome story about spending $3,000 to run the Chicago Marathon with a friend. He points out he could have bought a fancy watch for the exact same price. But then he asks this really powerful question. When you're 75, which one are you going to remember? Which one will you cherish more, the memory or the thing? It's such a critical lesson in figuring out what true value really is. Not every money decision is about the numbers on a spreadsheet. Sometimes paying off a loan that has, say, a 6.7% interest rate makes more sense than investing for an 8% return. Why? Because that feeling, that peace of mind you get from being debt-free, that has real, tangible value, even if you can't plug it into a formula. Okay, so we've got the mindset down. Now let's talk strategy. These are the big moves, the major plays that can either launch your wealth forward or send it spiraling backward. First up, we need to get a key term straight. Some things you buy, like stocks or a house, they're meant to grow in value. Those are appreciating assets. But other things, and a new car is the perfect example, start losing value the second you drive them off the lot. These are depreciating assets, and taking on debt to buy them is one of the fastest ways to destroy your wealth. All right, let's walk through this. Say you go out and get a loan for a $50,000 car. A year later, because of depreciation, that car is only worth $40,000. Your net worth just dropped by 10 grand. And on top of that, you've probably paid around $2,000 just in interest on the loan. I mean, really let that sink in. In a single year, you've paid out $12,000 and have absolutely nothing to show for it in your net worth. You are literally paying for the privilege of losing money. Look, unless it's an absolute must-have, this is a financial trap you have to avoid if you're serious about building wealth. Oh man, we've all got that friends, don't we? The one who gives you a hot stock tip and it actually works out. And suddenly you're thinking, wow, this person is a genius. So the next time they have a tip, you jump right in, no questions asked, and you lose money. The lesson here is so simple but so important. Always, always do your own research. A couple of lucky guesses does not make someone an investing guru. All right, so we've handled the big picture stuff, the mindset, the strategy. Now it's time to get into the fun part, the savvy financial hacks. These are the specific, kind of lesser-known rules of the system that you can use to really get an edge. Okay, nobody likes losing money on an investment, right? It stings. But there's actually a silver lining in the tax code. Let's say you have a really bad year and lose $50,000. The IRS lets you carry forward that loss to cancel out future gains. So that one big loss could actually wipe out your tax bill on investment profits for years. So the key rules to remember are pretty simple. Your losses cancel out your investment gains first. If you still have losses left over after that, you can deduct up to $3,000 from your regular income each year. And here's the best part, those losses never expire. It's a really clever way to turn a financial bummer into a future tax advantage. All right, this next one is a total game changer, especially if you're a procrastinator like me. Let's say you didn't max out your IRA contributions last year. No worries. The IRS actually gives you a grace period. You have until the tax filing deadline of this year, usually April 15th, to make contributions for last year. How cool is that? And this last hack, it's less about math and more about, just saving your own sanity and your relationships. Something always goes wrong when you travel, right? A missed flight, an unexpected cost. If you just budget an extra 10% as a buffer, it keeps that financial stress from ruining your whole trip. Okay, so let's pull all of this together. We've talked about mindset, strategy, and tactics. So what's the big takeaway? What are the key things you need to remember as you go through your 30s and beyond? It really boils down to these 3 pillars. First, get your mindset right. Focus on growth, not just cutting back. Second, lock in your strategy. Stop doing things that just destroy your wealth. And third, use the tactics. Learn the rules of the financial game and make them work for you. Look, learning all this stuff is great, but knowledge without action is useless. It's just potential power. So as you think back on everything we just covered, ask yourself, which one of these lessons are you going to put into action today? Because the most powerful financial move you can ever make is always your next one. So what's yours going to be?